welcome. Okay, we're here for Annihilation, which is glorious. That's right. The sequel of memes, quotes. It has cult classic status. Look, I do have fun watching Annihilation. Despite its epic cheesiness, its dork appeal, it is fun. Like, it's got great music, a number of the costumes are cool, and some of the fights are really good. You got Scorpion versus Sub-Zero in a short but sweet fight on the pit. And they fight right after Liu Kang versus Smoke, which is awesome. Got Katana having her fight with the Extermination Squads. Now, to fix Annihilation, take out the Extermination Squads and just have Mortal Kombat characters squaring off against each other. You know, Katana could have fought Rain, Prince vs. Princess. Would have been amazing. You know, Sonya could have fought Ermac or Shiva when Jax is fighting Cyrax. You know, take out all the army and everything, just save it for one scene. And yeah, but they didn't. You know, keep out a few characters, or at least give them a proper fight. Because when you see Baraka up there, he's only in it for like 30 seconds. So, despite all those flubs, it's still pretty fun. Now, comparison time. Let's start with Sub-Zero. You got the 95 and Annihilation. Of course, the 95 look is classic. You know, when we first saw him, it was sweet. And then when Annihilation's Sub-Zero shows up, you know, with the sliding down the ice, he's holding on with his ankles. You know, it's weird, but the costume's not bad. It's got a similar look to the games. And, well, Sub-Zero, he's got the eye scar, and he fights without the mask, which is like in MK3. It would have looked cool fighting with the mask, but hey, he doesn't have it on in MK3 and Trilogy and Ultimate MK3. You got the other Sub-Zero same with Trilogy, so it's accurate. The costumes like Trilogy and so they did pretty well with Annihilation Sub-Zero. And he's played by Keith Cook, who played Reptile. And plus, he fights Scorpion. So, the 95 look is great. Especially the ice mask, which came into the game. The fight, I will give the action to Annihilation Sub-Zero. Plus, he's a Mortal Kombat movie veteran at this stage. He was Reptile in debatably the best fight of the original film. He fights Scorpion. You know, Francois, he did well. He looks sweet. But his fight with Liu Kang is alright. But he still have got skipped out. He did do the ice grenade and all that, but Annihilation Sub-Zero does the ice clone. So it sort of like Like, they're almost equal for this. Almost equal. Next, Scorpion. So again, Chris Casamassa and JJ Perry. Now, I call this Scorpion Iron Face because he looks like he's got an iron on his face. His costume, they're identical throughout. The masks are a bit different, but the costumes, palette swaps. So again, very accurate. Of course, classic look. It was brought back in Conquest. New look, pretty cool. Some people say the masks are a bit too big, but hey, I still like it. This Scorpion, he does his toasty. He fights in his lair. He's got like the best fight. Starts off in the living forest. And yeah, you got Fear Factory playing in his fight. He's got the goriest scene of the original film. This Scorpion, he does suckers. He fights on the bridge. So, classic look. And that welcome and the punch to Johnny's face. Sweet fight. Toasty fatality. And the suckers, like, again, this is almost pretty close, but he fights Sub-Zero, but epic fight. This is really tough to rank here. You know, we got more Scorpion in the original. So, I am favoring. But yeah. Plus, hey, JJ Perry did multiple roles in Annihilation, so I'm gonna have to have it so close. Like, each have their pros more than cons. Alright. A little early, but Shao Kahn. So, there was a mask and costume for 95 Khan, as you'll see next, and then this costume's always ripped on. Look, it's not that bad. Brian Thompson did well with the voice, the laugh, the quotes. You really should have kept the mask on for more fights. Would have looked great. We get a cameo of this guy, voiced by Frank Welker. It's a pretty good impact. It's like, whoa, cool. Then we see Annihilation Khan. He has that epic speech. He's a bit of a daddy's boy. He's a bit of a goofball. But he does say the infamous line, "It is glorious." He does all the moves. He uses the Wrath Hammer. We see more of him. You know, some of his lines are great, like, "You hid behind your entire pathetic life." You know, when he says, "You will never win," after the laugh. I gotta hand it to Brian Thompson. You know, some of the shots when you see him in the background and when he looks at Raiden and he just stares. It just works. You know, 95 Khan is cool, but Brian Thompson gets it. He gets it this one now. Let's go with Sonya. Bridget Wilson, Sandra Hess. Now for character, it's Bridget. She can be serious, charming, and fun with comedy. Sandra's Sonya, she's very, very naggy and whiny. We get that she lost her love, but she's like just so emotional throughout. No one but me. No one said Johnny had to die. We couldn't save Johnny. We. But she has so many fights. She takes out an entire extermination squad. She fights Melina. She fights Ermac. She tries to fight Noob Saibot. So, for the action, you gotta give it to Sandra Hess and her stunt double, because Sonya just kicks some serious butt. 95 Sonya has a great fight with Kano. She's series. She is great, so that is the Sonya we love. But for the action, it goes to Annihilation. Sonya, but still, it is Sonya, and yeah, good job here. Now, let's go with Raiden. You got Christopher Lambert. He's laugh. He's husky voice. He does his teleport. He does his electric shock to Scorpion and Sub-Zero. He punches the guy. He does the flip to Liu Kang. He wears his hat. He has a really cool introduction. All his quirks. You know, he's just sitting on the step. He's like, I don't think so. Then he always says something like the fate of billions will depend upon you. Ha ha ha. Sorry. So for all that, he's striking to the top, but James Remar, great actor. He's a dork as Raiden. He's a bit perverted. He does fight. He has 2 fights. He fights the Raptors. He does the uppercut. He goes up through the roof. He fights Khan. But he loses his power. He does open a portal, but he's just so doy. So, look, I love how Raiden did fighting. It was great. But Christopher Lambert's charm, and because he wore the hat and stuff, yeah, he's still on top with live action Raiden. But, you know, Remar's Raiden still gets a few points in there because he had a couple of fights. He did the lunge. And yeah, so let's go to Jax. Now, we got 95 Jax. Couple of good lines. He's there, not for long, because in the original game he wasn't in there. You know, he had 2 scenes. Then we got Annihilation Jax. All these one-liners, his zingers, his quips. He's got his arms, which are far better than the CGI stuff in the 2021 film. His arms are there. He does his earthquake punch. He sort of does the gotcha because he pummels Cyrax. You know, he's in a great fight with that. So, and he fights Motaro. So, you know, all respect to this guy. He did pass away. He did play Jax with what he got. He should have gotten the Goro scene and fight. And his arms ripped off in PG-13 style. That's the update for the original, which I would do, but yeah, Annihilation gets it. You know, people find him annoying, you know, with all these outdated one-liners like the Mr. Ed line and stuff, but come on. He's got the arms. He's in the best fight of Annihilation. And yeah, he was a gladiator, as was Motaro. Now, Johnny Cage. It's Lyndon Ashbay. Will always be Lyndon. He's funny. He can be serious. He's a good fighter. Well, the best. Because he fights Scorpion. He fights Goro. He's got the lines. Those with $500 sunglasses, asshole. He does the split punch to Goro. Now, Chris Conrad. He has one line. This is not good. He does his shadow kick. Tries to save Sonya, but it's over. And he wore the same costume for continuity's sake. But that's it. So yeah, it's Lyndon. Now, we did get Melina in Annihilation. We got Baraka. We got Shinnok, which look nothing like Shinnok. We got Ermac, we got Rain, who had pretty cool introductions. Shiva, Motaro, as mentioned, Noob Saibot. 3 random raptors. So, look, Baraka looks cool, but his fight was too short. He does do a little bit of chop chop. Now Shiva, she has a little moment with Motaro, but was skipped out of the fight. We got Jade, we got Nightwolf. Now Jade shows up in her desert with the staff and fights Liu Kang. Nightwolf, he looks 100% accurate. He does his animality and he throws his axe. So, yeah, and he's played by Lightfoot, who is a legit Native American. So Nightwolf is the most accurate in Annihilation. He comes back during the dream sequence. So yeah, Jade, she looks cool. She has the staff and everything. Noob Saibot, he's blink and you miss it. Rain, he doesn't get to fight. He gets knocked into the fire pit. And that shot's reused for Baraka going in the fire pit. Ermac, yeah, again, he looks cool. He has a fight. Sindel, she does her hair. She does her scream ball. She screams. She says that was fun. She has the infamous favorite line, "Too bad you will die." It's so 90s. And, yeah, there was, Quan Chi. He's in some versions of the film. He was meant to be at the end. He just shows up and nods. And he looks great. From the photos we've seen, he looks accurate. The actor didn't know English, couldn't speak it, so they just said... And yeah, that's how they got him to do his part. Now, Quan Chi did pop up in Conquest. So, that comparison should be easy. And I'm looking forward to do the Shang Tsuns. Jeffrey makes Raiden, Jeffrey makes Khan. So yeah, next Monday is gonna be super sweet. More Sub-Zero comparison, more Scorpion. Rain gets to be compared. Noob Saibot gets to be compared. So yeah. And yeah, so Annihilation will be referenced again, and then Conquest. So yeah, our third Mortal Kombat Monday is going to be great. So that's the rankings. And I can't compare Liu Kang to himself or Katana to herself. Yeah, Robin, he did more fighting. Talisa Soto, she did fights. She versed Extermination Squad. She had her fans. She versed Sindel, so... Yeah, people find her acting a little bit but she did more in Annihilation, so... Yeah, Annihilation Katana did more than what she did originally, so... That's it. I'll scare you later.